Hey everybody, Diploma Bobby here. This is the way I see it. I want to start off real quick. 2 bars of silver given away for comments from subscribers in the month of May. Drawing to be June 1st, 8 p.m. on a live stream. But before I get started with my video, I want to thank my supporters. I want to thank all of you who support me with your comments and your views. But I've got 2 special supporters I want to call out tonight, and that's Darlene and James Wells. Actually, there's 3. Darlene and James Wells and Carol Long. They both sent me very, very nice checks today, and I'm very grateful for their support. I'm trying to grow this channel, and every penny I can get is a blessing. Being on a fixed income, I can't do a whole lot at one time. I have to do it a little bit here and there. So any support financially I get from my supporters, I'm very grateful for. So once again, Darlene and James Wells, I thank you, and Carol Long, I thank you, sir. I appreciate everything you're doing. Tonight I want to talk a little bit about Venezuela. Nicolas Maduro remains the disputed leader of Venezuela after a failed coup d'etat attempt on Maduro by, I'm going to get this right, Juan Guaido, when his call for the military was to rise up against Maduro, but it failed, and it failed miserably from what I understand. Now Juan Guaido says he's considering asking the U.S. military assistance against Maduro and his loyal military. Well, the U.S. recognized Guaido as president as well as 50 other countries. So they've got 2 presidents in Venezuela. One, Maduro, he came in after Chavez died and he took over power, but he's been instituting a lot of really bad stuff over the last few years, since I think 2013. So Guaido, according to the Constitution, he was able to grant himself the interim presidential powers as head of the Opposition Nationalist Assembly. But this is where it gets interesting, people. Pompeo and the Trump administration is monitoring the situation in Venezuela closely, and military intervention is on the table. Of course, with Trump, military intervention is always on the table, because that is our trump card, is the military. Pompeo said today that Maduro was prepared to flee Cuba until he got a call from the Russians and asked him not to leave, that they would offer him support. But then again, they're also getting support from China. So people, if we get involved in Venezuela militarily, this could be the powder keg that blows the top off everything. I'm not talking Armageddon or the end of the world, but there could be a lot of conflict, there could be a lot of sanctions, there could be withdrawing into our own country. There's a whole lot of things that could happen if we get involved in Venezuela, and the Chinese and Russians also get involved as an opposition. So we have to look at this stuff as the way it is. You know, us being just patriots sitting at home. Speaking of patriots, you like my flag? I got it today. I plan on getting a few more flags. I'm actually moving out to a building just outside there that I purchased a couple of years ago, and I'm going to turn that into a studio one day, but I got to get electrical power out there, you know, and that kind of stuff, and get a small air conditioner for it. But anyway, that's what my plan is. My plan is to grow this channel and to fix this backdrop. But anyway, I'm going to get back on topic. Needless to say, the Democrats are already crying, and they're condemning Pompeo and the Trump administration for even saying that they might send troops. But what really gets them is Secretary of State Pompeo confirmed that the Trump administration is making contingency plans for U.S. military intervention into Venezuela, but refused to say if they would seek the approval of Congress first. Well, seems like presidents over the past, they've never had to seek Congress. Maybe back in the old days, years ago, people did it the way it's supposed to be. You get Congress to say okay, and then everybody's happy. But now, with the demon rats and having control of the House of Representatives, there's not a whole lot we can do except executive order or executive decision. And Trump can send troops without the approval of the Congress. And I imagine that's exactly what he'll do if this ever happens, because Congress will never give him approval. So this is a battle waiting to happen. Let's see what happens in the end. I'm sure Trump will come out on top, just like he will in 2020. Well, Patriots, that's my news of the day. But before I leave, I got to share a story on my children. This was out of Schenectady, New York. Schenectady, New York is a prime location for sex trafficking because of its proximities to the interstates and to New York City. A true place of hell, people. I've been there many times. I used to drive a truck and I was dedicated to New York City every week. People, you'd be amazed at the stuff you see driving down the streets of New York City at 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. It's plumb scary, let me tell you, people. The runaways and the throwaways are who sex traffickers prey on. It's these children the perverts seek. Children who survive physical, emotional pain of being trafficked will have this to follow them for as long as they live. It'll always be in their mind. Survivors' stories of sex abuse and lifestyle of victims are forced to live and make grown men cry. I'll tell you, the torture, the abuse, the sexual abuse, the beatings these girls go through, it'd make a grown man cry. It's torture, people. A lot of times it's torture. While you're getting your own children off to school or to soccer practice or to the playground or to any normal event, outside of normal daily activities, sex traffickers are forcing children just like yours. While you're doing all of that with your kids, there's other kids out there who are forced to have sex with many men a day. Child sex trafficking is a silent epidemic, and we have to do something. People, we've just scratched the surface of this humanity problem. Social media and the internet have made problems of child sex trafficking much more challenging and so much harder to enforce. People, they're preying on our children. I could never say that enough. And I don't care if it's India or South Africa or Germany or any other country. Children who are trafficked and abused are my children. They should be your children. And that makes them our children. All the children of the world belong to me and to you. Because we are the driving force in the world to get rid of this stuff. But at the same time, we make very little ground until they reach in deep and start drawing out these elite pedophiles and these elite sexual abusers that we are not allowed to say the names of, but I will. Joe Biden, Hillary Rotten Clinton. I can name a bunch more. John Podesta, Tony Podesta, Cheryl Mills, Valerie Jarrett, Barack Obama, Rothschild, Smithfields, Windsors, Morgans. People, we've only scratched the surface. We're picking up these penny ante little sex traffickers in New York, Kentucky, and Michigan, and Mississippi, and Alabama, and all over Georgia. But we're not getting to the people we need to get to. People, they arrest these guys in these other states on these stings with a lot less evidence than they have on Hillary Rotten Clinton. She needs to be in jail or dead. I said it. I'm not ashamed of it, Hillary. You need to be hung by the neck until you're dead, just like they did Saddam Hussein. And that was a real Bush loop-de-doo. But let me get back to my story. You know, all we know about child trafficking in the public is the clouded view that the MSN puts out there for us to see. We never see the severeness of the problem. All we see is these little brushed over stories right quick like it never happened. And you know, many of these same people are up to their eyeballs in the sex trade who try to cover it up. I just mentioned a few. You know, and they cover it up to protect themselves, and they cover it up to protect each other. Parents, this stuff has been going on for centuries, and the cabal has a monopoly on child trafficking. They also have a monopoly on child sacrifice. So parents, don't turn a blind eye and a deaf ear to this epidemic of children lured and coerced into child sex trade. Be aware of what your children are doing and who is influencing your kids on the internet when you're not with them. Child trafficking needs to be taken off the Democratic back burner and brought to the forefront and expose these pedophiles for the heinous monsters that they are. Let's quit protecting these monsters, these pedophiles. Our elite in Congress and Senate on the demon rat side of the aisle, all they want to do is to normalize pedophilia the way they have normalized murdering our babies through abortion. And people, I get wound up. You know I do. You've been with me long enough to know that I can get to the point where I could just set myself on fire. It blows my mind and it ticks me off. People, child sex trafficking under Obama exploded when he was in the White House. There's a reason why it exploded. Child sex trafficking, child abuse claims soared to new heights under Obama, and I thank God the pedophiles like Obama, Biden, and Hillary Rotten Clinton are no longer running this country. Imagine where we would be if she had become president of the United States. People, pedophilia would be normalized. Abortion would be up until and after birth. People, we would be at war with Korea. Probably Russia. And maybe even China. We'd probably be at the war with the whole world. Because all they want to do is the downfall of this country. That's all the demon rats want. They want to bring in socialism, communism, Nazism, Marxism, Zaoism, Maoism. It's stupid. Trump is making heads roll. And he really is. He's making heads roll. We just can't see it yet. Because he's fighting to the end. He's going to end sex trafficking according to the bill or whatever it was he signed into office when he first came in after his inauguration against sex trafficking of any kind and human trafficking, saying that they would take the assets of those who did that. I believe it involves human trafficking of any kind, as well as corruption. And you can bet your bottom dollar that the three people I just named, Obama, Biden, and Hillary, are knee-deep, if not eyeball deep, in the middle of it all. They've already found out that Obama had Hillary's private server emails in his office. And he lied when he said, looking at the camera, I didn't hear about it until you heard about it. Crap. He's a liar. His name on that website was Renegade. People, it's all been found out. These people are scared to death. I support President Trump and all of his efforts to end the sex trade in America. And it's my prayer that soon we will all know these elite pedophiles and who they are, and they will be exposed and sent to Gitmo to spend their life in hell, or better yet, let's use some of those FEMA guillotines. Let's turn those guillotines that FEMA has red with these pedophiles' blood. Or hang them. Drown them. I don't care what you do to them. Get them out. We don't need them. They're of Satan. People, I've said enough. I've went too long. I've been trying to keep it short so I can keep you watching. My name's Deplorable Bobby, and this is the way I see it. I want to thank you for watching. I want you to subscribe. Leave comments in the month of May, and your name will be in the hat for the silver bars June 1st on a live stream at 8 p.m. People, Deplorable Bobby, pray for our children. They need it more than anybody. Pray for our children. The lost, the exploited, the trafficked, the sex abused. And pray for each other. People, that's how we stay connected. We pray for each other. We patriots stand together, shoulder to shoulder, and arm to arm against all enemies. People, I'm Deplorable Bobby. This is the way I see it. I'll see you tomorrow.